Good evening and welcome to another episode of Michaelantonio Live. That's right, I'm here tonight to talk about a possibility that something big is actually coming now. We've been talking about this, the election happens, we have this apparent president-elect, Joe Biden. Everybody's saying it, all the experts, the media, Joe himself, proclaiming himself king of the world, apparently. No, not really, but you know what I mean. So, what we're trying to figure out here is, what do we do now? We have all this apparent voter fraud that is going on. We have a lot of evidence piling up, and of course the media is claiming that there is none. There's no claims that are valid here of widespread voter fraud. Well, first of all, if something is widespread, they don't really know that the fraud is widespread, and to be frank, we can't prove that it's very widespread yet, but as this unfolds, we will prove it. But I think we have a few hints of something about to happen, something very big. Yes, I know they promised it for a long time. We've been waiting for arrests for forever. I mean, nothing's happening. Bill Barr has done nothing, at least that we know of. Again, on the surface, what we're looking at on TV and in social media, what we're hearing through the news, that he's really done not much of anything. Done a lot of talking, but that's about it. Well, I just wanted to, bring to your attention a few things here that I think might be a little indicator that something is about to happen here, something big. So let's kind of break into this here. On my website, michaelantonio.biz, under Michaelantonio Live, there's a story here about Secretary Pompeo, and of course his big quote of the day is, "There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration." Wow, now that flies in the face of all the conventional wisdom brought to you by Democrats, the media, and everybody else for that matter. They say that if you don't support this transition, what's going on right now, then you are the problem. That's what they're telling you. They're telling you, don't buy all of this malarkey that's going on with voter fraud and machines and all these other things. Joe Biden has been elected. The people have spoken. That's what they're saying. But now we got Secretary Pompeo. Maybe he's stirring the pot. I don't know. Maybe he's troll-level genius. We'll find out, won't we? Let's do a little reading, shall we? Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Tuesday said he expects there to be a second Trump administration when the outcome of the election is final. A reporter asked Pompeo if the State Department was preparing to engage with Biden transition team and whether or not doing so would delay or hamper a smooth transition or pose a national security risk. Pompeo responded, "Oh, there will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration." You gotta love the guy. He's got some cojones. And he says, "The world is watching what's taking place here. We're going to count all the votes. When the process is complete, there will be electors selected." There's a process. The Constitution lays it out pretty clearly, he said. He said the world should have every confidence that the transition necessary to make sure that the State Department is functional today, successful today, and successful with the president who's in office on January 20th, a minute after noon, will also be successful. Like I said, he is saying something here that is very incendiary, and again, defies everything that all the experts are trying to tell us. It's just amazing that, it's amazing that somebody at least has the courage, to do this. I'm very surprised, but I like it. I like this surprise. So guys, this gives me the perfect segue to let you know, if you like what I'm saying here and you feel the same way Secretary Pompeo feels, it's a great time to subscribe to my YouTube. Hit that notification bell. You got to like this video, and you got to comment. You got to tell me how you think about it. You might agree with me, but maybe your thought process brings something new to the table here. Maybe you can actually lend some ideas that I'm not discussing, which I'd love to hear. I want to hear your ideas and your thoughts. So please make your comments down here in the comments and let me know what you think about all this. I want to swing over now to my Twitter page to something Trump said today. Sounds a little cryptic. Now look, Trump has been cryptic in the past. We know that. His tweets are legend. We know that. But there was something today that he did, just a few hours ago actually, that I thought was a little interesting. And I want to read it to you right now. You'll see it on your screen, of course, as well. Donald J. Trump says, "I don't care what state you're in. This computer voting system is wide open to fraud and intervention. At Lou Dobbs. True. And wait until you see what's coming." So here he's answering Lou Dobbs. He was probably watching Lou Dobbs on, I believe, Fox Business. I think that's where Lou Dobbs does his show. And so he's kind of echoing what Lou Dobbs is talking about. But then he says, wait until you see what's coming. Now, again, that is cryptic. He's letting us know something is up here. Something is about to happen, and it means they know something. What it is they know, I don't know, but I'm telling you, I think it does have something to do with those voting machines. You know, those ones they were talking about. Dominion, I believe it was, where they're literally able to change vote counts. And I believe that particular voting system is owned by somebody involved with Nancy Pelosi. I believe it's either her family or her husband, somebody involved in the Democrats is in control of that system, which, again, that's a red flag if I ever heard one before. That's amazing to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Western Journal. They have a story here that I think is interesting as well. All this stuff is piling up. All of it is just piling up. Here's another story about voter fraud. The lawsuit says, this is a lawsuit brought by, of course, the Trump administration. Out-of-state vehicles brought tens of thousands of unsealed ballots to Michigan, all for Dems. Now, you could say, if, there was out-of-state vehicles bringing in these unsealed ballots, okay? Now, that's fishy in and of itself, because when you have a vote, even if it's a mail-in ballot, of course some mail-in ballots are going to come from out of state because it's people that are maybe somewhere else, usually an absentee ballot or something like that. Now, the thing is, most mail-in ballots, if it's the standard mail-in ballot, it should actually come from in the state because it's not considered technically an absentee ballot. Absentee, of course, denotes that you are absent from your local place because you're in the military or you have other business going on and you can't be at home at that particular time during the voting period. Well, I don't see that going on right now. With this, you've got unsealed ballots coming into Michigan. Now, all for Dems, that's probably the biggest three words here in the entire title. How amazing is that? All of them for the Dems? How is that possible? I mean, that's not even, look, even in an area, a voting precinct where you have a highly, partisan group of people, you're not going to get 100% for one and 0 for the other. It just doesn't happen that way. You might get 95, you might get 99% even, but you're not going to get 100%. It's just impossible. So let's read a bit here. A major new allegation of voter fraud has been raised in Michigan, where a lawsuit filed by the Great Lakes Justice Center on behalf of 2 poll challengers says multiple levels of improper conduct took place on orders from election officials. The allegations are aimed at election officials from Detroit and Wayne County, according to a release from the center, and are based on affidavits of named individuals who said they witnessed misconduct. This type of widespread fraud in the counting and processing of voter ballots cannot be allowed to stand. Michigan citizens are entitled to know that their elections are conducted in a fair and legal manner and that every legal vote is properly counted, Senior Counsel David A. Kallman said in his statement. Such rampant fraud cannot be undone. We ask the court to enjoin the certification of this fraudulent election, void the election, and order a new vote in Wayne County. Michigan, along with Pennsylvania, are two major states targeted by President Donald Trump's campaign, which has alleged widespread voter fraud linked to mail-in ballots cast there. Wow, I gotta tell you what, man. I mean, I could read this all, forever, but if you want to go to the story, it's in Western Journal. They have a lot of great stories there. So it's just, I will read little parts of this, which, wow. It says here, defendants systematically processed and counted ballots from voters whose name failed to appear in either the qualified voter file or in the supplemental sheets. When a voter's name could not be found, the election worker assigned the ballot to a random name already in the QVF to a person who had not voted, the complaint reads. Defendants instructed election workers to not verify signatures on absentee ballots, to backdate absentee ballots, and to process such ballots regardless of their validity. Guys, this is fraud. That's what this is. Now, again, there's people alleging this right now because we haven't completed the investigation, nor any kind of court case. I mean, it's alleged. Yeah, it's alleged, but come on. I mean, it's some of the stuff is in real time, in real life. This stuff is obvious. It's going on. It's happening. The only problem is, can you get it to stick legally in court? That's the problem. Just because it is actual in life doesn't mean it actually gets prosecuted in court. It's very tough sometimes, Very tough. It's just crazy. Plus, it says here, after election officials announced the last absentee ballots had been received, another batch of unsecured and unsealed ballots without envelopes arrived in trays at the TCF Center. There were tens of thousands of these absentee ballots, and apparently every ballot was counted and attributed only to Democrat candidates, the complaint read. Unsecured ballots arrived at the TCF Center loading garage, not in sealed ballot boxes, without any chain of custody and without envelopes. Guys, chain of custody is essentially when you know exactly where the ballot came from, where it's going, everything is accounted for. Every location that it's been certified through each location. Like, in other words, somebody knows, okay, this was sent by Joseph Smith, at his home. This is his address. It's come here. We have it here at this center for processing, and everything looks good with it. We're going to send it now to, the central processing unit where it's going to be, tabulated. The problem is some of these ballots just show up without any chain of custody. Just a random stranger comes up and throws it in the bin and says, there you go, count that one. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. Now, they made it work that way. They did that, but that's called fraud. People like that should go to prison. It's unacceptable behavior. And so there's so much going on here, and I won't go into it too much in depth. I didn't want to make this a long video, but I'll show you something else that's been going on. There's a Postal Service IG agent was attempting to coerce a whistleblower to recant allegations of voter fraud. Now here's the thing. They have been saying today in the news tonight that this particular whistleblower recanted all of his testimony about what happened. It's all baloney. No, he didn't recant it. This particular, this agent here, okay, I guess, what's his name again? Russell Strasser, U.S. Postal Service Office of IG. He literally was trying to scare this particular whistleblower into not, to essentially admitting that, all that I wasn't, I didn't really mean that. There was no fraud. Yeah, that's what he was trying to get him to say. I'll read this from Conservative Fighters. Listen to this one. On Thursday, United States Postal Service whistleblower Richard Hopkins, a carrier in Erie, Pennsylvania, came forward saying his supervisors were allegedly ordering carriers to backdate ballots that were received after Election Day. Illegal. Once Hopkins' bosses pieced together that he was the whistleblower, he was allegedly relieved of his duty. He then made his name and his face public. He signed an affidavit shortly after detailing what he heard from his superiors. That affidavit was provided to Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham and the Justice Department to launch an investigation. Hopkins met with an agent from the USPS Inspector General's office and recanted his story, according to tweets from Oversight Committee Democrats. He allegedly signed an affidavit saying that. Right now. So they're saying all this. They said, this is what the Oversight Committee says. Dems, yeah. A Democrat Oversight Committee is about as effective as a screen door on a submarine, okay? You can't trust them. But I'll just read what they said here. Breaking news, Erie, Pennsylvania. USPS whistleblower completely recanted his allegations of a supervisor tampering with mail-in ballots after being questioned by investigators, according to IG. Now, again, this is what this is what they say he said. They said that he recanted his testimony of voter fraud. Well, but after meeting with the USPS Office of the Inspector General, Agent Russell Strasser, Hopkins met with the Project Veritas James O'Keefe. He provided O'Keefe with a recording of the interview Hopkins allegedly had with the IG. The recordings are evident that federal agents were trying to coerce Hopkins into recanting his story. By the way, guys, coercion is not allowed. You can't do that. You can't coerce somebody into changing testimony. It doesn't work that way. Now, you can say, well, the police does that all the time. They want to make sure somebody's not lying, and so they scare them. The problem with that is that can't be admissible in court unless you have other corroborating evidence. But let's go on with this. And so let me make good on that promise right away. Okay, this storm is getting crazy, right? It's out of a lot of people's control, and so the reason they called me in is to try and harness that storm. Try to reel it back in before it gets really crazy. Now that sounds, this kind of an agent, you can tell where he's going here. He's a psychological nut job, you know. He's trying to, condescend with this guy. It's really, that really annoys me when people try to do that. I don't fall for that kind of stuff. So Strasser said during the interview, then he says, because we have senators involved, we have the Department of Justice involved, we have Trump's lawyers' teams gotten a hold of me. Uh-oh. Later on in the recording, Strasser said he was trying to twist Hopkins. I am trying to twist you a little bit, because in that, believe it or not, your mind will kick in. We like to control our mind, and when we do that, we can convince ourselves of a memory. But when you're under a bit of stress, which is what I'm doing to you purposely, your mind can be a little bit clearer, and we're going to do a different exercise, too, to make your mind a little bit clearer, he explained. But this is all on purpose. You know what this sounds like? We have ways to make you talk. It almost sounds a little like fascism. We're going to make you talk. That's what they're doing to him. They're doing this. It's craziness. Well, anyway, apparently, they're literally trying to coerce him. And so, now here's Hopkins. Here's our whistleblower. This is what he says about all this. Hopkins took to YouTube to call out the Washington Post for their story, saying he did not recant his story. He says, at the very moment I'm looking at an article written by the Washington Post that says I fabricated the allegations of ballot tampering. I'm here to say that I did not recant my statements, Hopkins said. That did not happen. It is not what happened. This guy is literally saying, no, I'm sorry, it did not happen. Isn't that crazy? Wow. Wow. Man. So let me see if this one tells you. Let me see if he says anything here.
I am a postal employee who came out and whistleblew on the Erie Postal Service postal office. I right at this very moment, looking at an article written by Washington Post. Says that I fabricated the allegations of ballot tampering. I'm here to say that I did not recant my statements. That did not happen. That is not what happened. You will find out tomorrow. And I would like that the Washington Post recant their wonderful little article that they decided to throw out there, out of random.
Oh boy. So literally he's saying, nope, didn't do it, so I want the Washington Post to recant what they're saying here. Boy, this is getting juicy, huh, guys? So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that what's going on here. We are in the middle of a war. That is what is happening. We know there's fraud going on. And you have all these people on the left saying, no, there's nothing to see here. Although, when Trump won the election last time around in 2016, that's all they could say was, yep, fraud. He used the Russians. The Russians helped him win. It was all the Russians. And then, of course, we find out that was all false. They did a full investigation. I mean, they called out the dogs on that whole thing. Nothing. Remember the Mueller team? Nothing came of it all. They said there was no evidence of any kind of tampering or Russian collusion. And guess what? Trump is vindicated. So now all of a sudden when Republicans say, wait a minute, hold the phone, we're seeing some stuff going on here, and there's evidence, there's hard evidence. That's the difference. The Russia collusion story had no evidence to back it up. It was all conjecture. In fact, some of it was even made up specifically by Democrats to try to foist it upon Trump. So actually the only ones who actually colluded with Russia during that whole thing were the Democrats. You know, just funny, just ironic stuff, but this is what they do. They project. Everything they accuse you of doing, they've already done, believe me. So now you have these Democrats saying, oh, there's nothing to see. Nope, you're a liar. You're just, sour grapes. You're a sore loser. Biden won. Just accept it and move on, and that's it. Shut up. That's their attitude. But you can see how they act in circumstances when they are not in charge. When they find out that, we don't have the power here. Even when Obama was leaving office, what did Obama say? If you remember specifically, Obama said, nope, there's no tampering going on with this election. Remember when Donald Trump was in this battle with Hillary Clinton? Obama said, there's no tampering. No, there's no tampering going on at all. Everything is just great. Everything is okay, right? It's just crazy, But then all of a sudden, when Hillary loses, here we go, Russian collusion. I can't even believe how much these people twist things around. It's just amazing to me. It's just amazing to me. Now, I got to show you something from Tim Pool. Does everybody know Tim Pool? Tim Pool is a journalist that has a great program. He does programs on YouTube and some other networks, and his stories are really neat, the way he does things. He has broadcasts all the time on YouTube. Got to catch him. You got to check him out. But he just showed something here from Newsweek. The RNC chair says 11,000 people have come forward with voter fraud claims. 11,000. Wow. That's amazing. 11,000 people. Now again, that's 11,000 people. That's not about 11,000 votes. If you have 11,000 people are coming forward with voter fraud claims, let's just a conservative estimate. Let's stipulate that only, maybe 5,000 of them are right. Let's say only 2,000 of them are right. That literally means that it still could involve hundreds of thousands of votes. Even for about 2,000 people, you could have hundreds of thousands of votes involved here. That right there would literally change this election overnight. And I highly doubt it's only 2,000 of them that are correct. It's probably more like, I would say, if I was going to be, a gambling man, I would say it's at least 7. At least 7,000 of these people are right. So you're talking about perhaps more than 1 million votes were affected. You think that would change the election? You bet your life it would, guys. It absolutely would change the election. And of course, look at this. New York Times says, and I guess they're saying this tomorrow. Well, they've already made the article. It says, yeah, election officials nationwide find no fraud. Really? What election officials? We are living in bizarro land, guys, where we see all these stories coming out. We see all this stuff happening. And, of course, the investigations are just beginning. So the bottom line is this. There's no way. This is the ironic part about this New York Times article. There is absolutely no way. There is no way that the New York Times could say this at this point in the process. They can't say that election officials nationwide find no fraud because, first of all, we've just begun the investigation of all of the allegations. So the bottom line is, you know, if they say they find now they could say, if you wanted to be very specific, you say, well, yet. They haven't really found anything yet. They're looking into it. They could say that. But that doesn't mean there is none. It just means they haven't found it yet. They are still at the very beginning stages. Well, second of all, they're not right. They're incorrect. We've already found cases of fraud. We already know there is. So for these election officials, whoever they are, I don't know, you know, that's a very broad statement. What election officials are you talking about? Are you talking about the election officials in the media who are just broadcasters who decided to call this for Biden just because they want to create this false narrative that he's already president-elect? Now, I'm not saying he won't become that, but the point is he's not yet, and he may not get there. So maybe something big is about to happen here, guys. And you know, Trump said that, so let's kind of look for that. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to find enough fraud to turn this election around. Maybe not. But I think the investigation obviously needs to be done because we have to find these people in contempt. We need to put people in prison who were part of the fraud, get them in prison, and then that way, moving forward, they will think twice about doing this again. We got to put safeguards in, guys. I think in the next presidential election, we need to have a voter ID law. And I think that all mail-in ballots should be restricted to absentee ballots and those who are physically unable to vote in person. There has to be some kind of a mitigating circumstance, and they have to request that. It can't just be something that they automatically get sent a ballot. They have to say, look, I am physically unable to do this. And give them plenty of time to deal through the process so that a ballot can be sent to them wherever they are. So other than that, there needs to be voter ID, but even then you can check their ID. So it's not something that's out of the realm of possibility or doability. We have to do this to secure the integrity of these elections. I'm sorry, but it just has to be done. Well, I've done enough chatting for the night, so I'm going to turn this over to the end over here where I tell you to please check out my website, michaelantonio.biz. You'll see Michael Antonio live at the top there. You can check out all of my social media. Join me in all my social media sites, including Parler. I've been on Parler for a little while, but I've become more active lately for obvious reasons. You know why. So I really would love for you guys to check out me on Parler. It'll be the same handle as my Twitter, which is at michaelantonio, at michaelantonio. Hey, you can make a story out of that. I'm not going there. Sorry, guys. I'm just not doing it. Also, probably one of the biggest things, look, this doesn't end. I don't even care if Trump does not win this election. God forbid. You know, this fight continues. The spirit of Trump is in all of us. We are all Donald Trump. We are all Trump. We are all MAGA. The MAGA spirit must go forward. So I have my shop here, and I literally have a Trump shop on my website that you can go to here. And this shop has all kinds of cool stuff for Trump, but I wanted to show you my exclusive collection. It's a MAGA collection. And you can also you can customize it too. First things first, I have what's called a MAGA Red Alert Vintage Cotton Twill Cap. Now, this particular cap is my own design, very simple. It's, you know, a little bit less obtrusive, if you want to say, and style. I think it's more stylish than the standard MAGA cap. We have different colors. Of course, this one here is like a more of a grayish. You know, it's called black. They call it black, but it just looked to me like a gray twill. We have navy, and of course, maroon. Now that's a cool one. That's closer to the red there. Very nice stuff. And of course, I have some other things here that are fantastic. I've got the MAGA Yellow Jacket Muscle Shirt. This shirt is the coolest. This is what guys, especially guys, should be wearing. Show your MAGA pride. Go out there and make the best of this. Because I'm going to tell you right now, hey, this is a war and we got to fight it the best way we know how. Wear the gear. Go out there and be proud of it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid to tell people who you support. Okay? So let's do this thing. There's a lot more I could say, but I'm going to leave it here for you because I know you're probably tired of listening to me. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. And once again, have a great night. I'm going to see all you guys later.